In every city, no matter how polished the skyline or how bustling the streets, there are moments when ordinary days collide with extraordinary truths. Some stories begin with fireworks, others with whispers, but this one begins with a siren, a hospital entrance, and a single decision that spirals into something far bigger than anyone expected. Cop stops pregnant black woman. From entering hospital unaware she's the mayor's wife may sound like the start of a political scandal or a dramatic headline meant to stir outrage, but beneath the surface, it is a story about assumptions, identity, power, fear, and how one life or death moment can expose the cracks in an entire system. This is not just about a woman trying to reach safety, it's about the people who failed her. The people who tried to protect her, and the people who never imagined the consequences of a split-second judgment. It is a story of tension, humanity, and a revelation that shakes an entire city to its core. In this first part, you will meet Aaliyah Monroe, 8 months pregnant, exhausted but determined to reach help. You will meet Officer Brent Dawson, a man weighed down by rules, pride, pressure, and the dangerous belief that his instincts are always right. And you will witness the moment their paths cross, an encounter that changes everything. Settle in, stay focused, and allow yourself to be pulled into the intensity of the moment. And if you love gripping stories like this, don't forget to subscribe and like the video at the end of the chapter. Aaliyah Monroe's hands trembled as she gripped the dashboard. The contractions were getting closer, barely 4 minutes apart now, and each one hit her like a wave crashing hard against a fragile shore. Her breaths came in short, rapid puffs, fogging the passenger side window as her driver sped through the quiet late evening streets of Crestfall City. "Mum, we're almost there," the driver said, glancing nervously in the rearview mirror. Aaliyah nodded, pressing a hand to her belly. Just get to Crestfall General, please." She hadn't expected the baby tonight. Her pregnancy had been smooth, too smooth, the doctors said. She had even joked to her husband that the baby seemed determined to enter the world quietly, unlike every other Monroe in history. But an hour ago, everything changed. A sharp stab of pain sent her stumbling to the floor of the yard kitchen, and by the time the driver arrived, her vision had blurred at the edges. Now, the bright lights of the hospital appeared in the distance, a beacon she prayed she could reach in time. But the moment the car pulled into the emergency lane, a figure stepped forward, hand raised, palm out. Officer Brent Dawson. His patrol car was parked sideways across the entrance, lights flashing, blocking access. He had been stationed there all evening due to a reported bomb threat earlier in the day, one the department still hadn't officially cleared. The driver slowed, confused. "Why is he blocking the ER entrance?" the driver muttered. Aaliyah swallowed hard. The baby kicked sharply. "Just tell him we need to get through." The car rolled to a stop. Officer Dawson approached the passenger side, his jaw tight, his expression even tighter. His hand hovered near his holster, not touching, but close enough to send a message. "Evening," he said. "This entrance is closed. Turn around. She's in labour," the driver said immediately. "She needs to get inside now." Dawson glanced at Aaliyah. She was sweating, breathing unevenly, clearly struggling, yet something flickered in his eyes. A cold calculation. "Hospital's on lockdown," Dawson said. "I can't let anyone in." Aaliyah tried to speak, but pain seized her mid-sentence. She pressed her forehead to the window, groaning softly. "She's not anyone, man. She's having a baby," the driver snapped. Dawson straightened his shoulders. "And I have orders. No exceptions." The words landed like a slap. Aaliyah forced herself to lift her head. "Please," she whispered. I don't have much time." It wasn't a plea filled with drama or theatrics. It was raw, fragile, and painfully real. But Dawson didn't budge. "Take her to another hospital." "The next nearest one is across the city," the driver protested. "She won't make it." "Then call for an ambulance," Dawson said. Aaliyah's eyes widened. "I'm already here, please. Just let me walk inside." "You step out of that car, Mom," Dawson warned, "and I will detain you. I am not repeating myself." For a moment, There was nothing. No sound, no movement, just the sharp, unbearable tension hanging between them. A contraction seized her again, harder than the last. Aaliyah cried out, clutching the seat, her nails digging into the leather. The driver threw his door open. "This is ridiculous!" Dawson's hand dropped fully onto his holstered weapon. "I said stop!" The shout echoed across the empty entrance. The driver froze. Aaliyah's heart thudded painfully, not from labour, but from fear. She had seen moments like this on the news. She had heard the stories. She had felt the dread. Her breaths grew shallow. "Please," she whispered again, her voice cracking. But Dawson wasn't looking at her. He was scanning the car, the hospital doors, the surrounding shadows, as if expecting a threat. His nerves were stretched thin by the earlier bomb alert, so thin that everything now looked suspicious. The driver slowly raised his hands. "Look, man, she's not a threat. She's pregnant." Dawson's jaw tightened. Everyone is a threat until proven otherwise. Aaliyah felt a cold chill spread through her. She fought the next contraction with everything she had, tears streaming down her cheeks. Dawson finally addressed her directly. "Mom, identify yourself." I don't need to," she stammered, wincing from the pain. "You do if you expect me to break protocol." Aaliyah wanted to laugh, or scream, or collapse, but she could barely breathe. The driver intervened. "She ain't gotta explain anything. She's trying to give birth, man." Dawson glared at him. "One more interruption and I arrest you for obstruction." Another contraction hit, longer, sharper, blinding. Aaliyah clenched her jaw. She wasn't sure how much time she had left. She wasn't sure the baby would wait, and she certainly wasn't sure if arguing with this officer would get her anywhere. But she wasn't powerless. She wiped tears from her face and said the first clear sentence she had managed in minutes. "I need to call my husband." Dawson's eyes narrowed. "No calls right now. He needs to know where I am." "No." The driver shook his head in disbelief. "Why not?" "'Cause I said so." Aaliyah felt something inside her snap, not physically, but emotionally. She was tired, she was scared, she was in pain, and she was done begging. With trembling fingers, she reached for her phone anyway. Dawson reacted fast. "Put the phone down!" She didn't. He yanked the passenger door open. "Ma'am, I'm giving you a lawful order." A gust of cold air rushed in. Aaliyah's gown fluttered. She stared at the officer, her fear burning into something sharper. "My husband," she said, "is the mayor of this city." Dawson froze. The driver blinked. "Tell him," he urged her. "Tell him," Aaliyah continued through clenched teeth. "Mayor Elijah Monroe. Call whoever you have to call. Check whatever list you want, but I am not staying out here while my baby is coming." For the first time since approaching the car, Dawson's confidence cracked, but only for a second. He straightened up, forcing a stiff laugh. "Nice try," he said. "But you expect me to believe the mayor's wife shows up here in a random taxi in the middle of a lockdown, without security?" He shook his head. "Phone down, doors closed, follow instructions." Aaliyah's body tensed as another violent contraction tore through her. She gasped, clutching her belly. This time she screamed, not from fear, from pain, the kind of pain that meant the baby wasn't just coming. The baby was here. The driver looked horrified. "Sir, she's crowning. Do you understand? She needs help. Now." For the first time, the officer hesitated. His eyes darted from Aaliyah's face to her stomach, to the hospital door, to his patrol car, to the radio clipped to his vest. He was trapped between pride, protocol, and reality. Aaliyah's vision blurred. She felt herself slipping sideways, her head resting against the seat. "Please," she whispered one last time, "my baby." Her voice faded, her eyes fluttered, the world tilted, and the officer finally reached for his radio. But it was already too late. Officer Brent Dawson's fingers trembled as he lifted his radio. His earlier confidence, his rigid posture, his stubborn authority was gone. His stomach churned with the sudden realization that the situation had spiraled far beyond his control. The woman was no longer just a potential threat. She was a patient in crisis, a mother in labour, and he had blocked her from getting help. "Dispatch, this is Unit 14, he said, voice cracking. "I need medical personnel at the ER entrance, now. I have a pregnant woman in active labour. Possible complications." Static. Then a voice. Copy, Unit 14, but ER is still locked down. What's her condition? Dawson wiped sweat from his brow. His eyes darted to the woman slumped against the passenger seat. Her breaths were shallow, strained. Her skin glistened with sweat. The driver hovered helplessly outside the open door, torn between supporting her and not wanting to provoke the officer. Again, She's barely conscious, Dawson replied shakily, and she claims she's... A pause. He couldn't bring himself to say it, but guilt forced the words out. She claims she's the mayor's wife. The radio crackled again. Say again? Dawson swallowed. She says she's Aaliyah Monroe. Another pause, longer this time. Stand by. The silence pierced him deeper than any reprimand. It was the silence of people verifying something he prayed wasn't true. He stared at Aaliyah, guilt twisting like a knife. He hadn't meant to harm anyone. He was just following protocol. He always followed protocol. But as he watched her wince, one arm wrapped around her stomach, something inside him crumbled. Had he let his fear, his bias, his assumptions put her life in danger? His pulse hammered in his ears. A minute later, the radio came back to life. Unit 14, confirm. The mayor's wife is Aaliyah Monroe. She is 8 months pregnant. She drives with security normally, but her detail was released early tonight. Proceed with caution. Medical response is en route. Dawson's knees nearly buckled. It was her, the mayor's wife. He stepped back from the car, suddenly unable to speak. His mouth was dry. His heart thudded painfully. The driver leaned into the car. Mom, stay with us. Help is coming. Aaliyah's eyelids fluttered open, then closed again. Her breaths came in shaky spurts. Another contraction seized her, making her grip the seatbelt until her knuckles turned white. Dawson's voice shook. Sir, can you help me lay her back? She needs to breathe. The driver stared at him with pure disgust. Now you want to help? After you blocked the entrance? After you threatened us? Dawson's throat tightened. I didn't know. You didn't care, the driver shot back. Dawson flinched. The driver reached for Aaliyah's shoulders and gently adjusted her. Breathe, Mom. Deep breaths. Don't push yet, okay? But Aaliyah's face contorted in pain. A low cry escaped her lips. I can't, she gasped. Her body was too exhausted, too overwhelmed, too far gone past the point of waiting. Dawson stepped closer, feeling more helpless than he ever had in his career. Mom, paramedics are coming. Just hang on. She didn't hear him. Her head dropped backward. Her breath grew weaker. Panic seized him. What had he done? On the other side of the locked ER doors, the staff had been arguing for nearly 10 minutes. Nurses demanded clearance to reopen the entrance. Administrators insisted they follow lockdown protocol until police cleared the earlier threat. Doctors paced anxiously, knowing someone outside might desperately need help. When Aaliyah's name came through the hospital radio, everything shifted. Dr. Emery Klein, the head obstetrician, slammed his clipboard down. She's out there, and they didn't let her in. Open the damn doors. But the lockdown. I said open them. Moments later, a group of medical staff, gowned, gloved, and rushing, pushed through the newly unlocked doors, sprinting toward the flashing patrol lights. Dawson saw them coming and stepped back, relief flooding through him. Over here, he shouted, but the medical team brushed past him like he was invisible. The lead nurse knelt beside Aaliyah. Vitals dropping. Let's get her on the stretcher. Careful. Watch her breathing. 2 medics lifted her gently. She whimpered, half-conscious, clutching her belly. As they secured her, Dawson hovered nearby. Will she be okay? He asked. No one answered him. They raced her through the hospital doors. But the last medic glanced back at him for a split second, a glare filled with pure condemnation. It was enough to make his stomach twist. Mayor Elijah Monroe was wrapping up a late-night emergency meeting when his phone buzzed. He almost ignored it until he saw the caller ID. Crestfall General Hospital, emergency alert. His chest tightened. He excused himself mid-sentence, answering with a trembling voice. This is Mayor Monroe. Sir, your wife has arrived at the hospital, but she was delayed at the entrance due to a security lockdown. Delayed? What do you mean, delayed? What happened? Is she okay? She's in active labour. She lost consciousness briefly. We're taking her to delivery now. The mayor didn't wait for another word. He ran. Aaliyah lay in the delivery room, her body shaking with exhaustion. The room buzzed with motion, nurses prepping equipment, a doctor adjusting monitors, another positioning oxygen. Dr. Klein leaned over her. "Aaliyah, can you hear me?" Her eyes flooded open. "Baby's coming," she whispered. "I know, but I need you to stay with us. You're losing strength. We need every bit of focus you've got." She nodded weakly. Another contraction struck. She cried out. The baby's heart rate spiked on the monitor. The doctor's face hardened. "We need to move now. Prep for assisted delivery." Aliyah's breaths trembled. Elijah, he's coming, right?" "He'll be here," the doctor promised. "You just do your part. We're doing ours." Mayor Monroe burst through the hallway moments later, flanked by his security team. Nurses tried to slow him down, but he pushed past them. "Where is she? Where's my wife?" "Sir, you can't go in yet. She's in active delivery." He grabbed the nearest wall to steady himself. His vision blurred. His chest heaved. "My wife was stopped outside." His voice cracked with rage and fear. Who did that? Which officer?" A trembling nurse pointed toward the ER entrance. Mayor Monroe turned and saw Brent Dawson standing at a distance, helmet under his arm, face pale, sweat beading down his forehead. Their eyes met, and Dawson felt his heart stop. The mayor walked toward him, slow, deliberate, dangerous. Every step felt like judgment. Dawson opened his mouth to speak, but the mayor cut him off with a raised hand. "Don't say a word." Dawson swallowed hard. "Do you have any idea what you did?" the mayor whispered, voice trembling with fury. "My wife, my family, my unborn child could have died because of you." "I was following protocol," Dawson whispered, hating how weak the excuse sounded. "No," the mayor hissed. "You weren't following protocol. You were following your assumptions." Dawson had no defense. He lowered his head. I'm sorry." "Sorry." The mayor took a step closer. "You don't get to be sorry. Not tonight." Dawson's chest tightened. You never meant," the mayor's voice hardened. "Do you think my wife cares what you meant? Do you think my child does? Do you think I do?" Silence. "Every second counts in labour. And you stole minutes she didn't have." Dawson felt the world closing around him. "I'll accept any discipline you give me," he whispered. "But please, tell me she's going to be okay." Before the mayor could answer, a doctor hurried out of the delivery room. "Sir, you need to come now." The mayor's face drained of colour. He rushed past Dawson without another glance. Dawson remained frozen, alone with his guilt. The chaos peaked. Aaliyah screamed through another contraction, her grip crushing the nurse's hand. "Her pressure's dropping! Baby's descending. Keep pushing, Aaliyah." She shook her head. I can't." "Yes, you can," Dr. Klein urged. "Do it for your baby." Her vision blurred, her limbs trembled, but she pushed and screamed, and then a single cry pierced the air, a baby's cry. The room froze with relief. Dr. Klein lifted the tiny newborn wrapped in a warm blanket. "It's a girl," he whispered. Aaliyah exhaled a shaking breath. Tears streamed down her cheeks. The mayor burst through the doors just in time to see his daughter's first breaths. He covered his mouth with a trembling hand, overwhelmed. The doctor placed the baby in Aaliyah's arms. Elijah staggered to her side, taking her hand and pressing it against his cheek. "You did it," he whispered. "You're incredible." She smiled weakly. "She's here, Elijah. She's here." He kissed her forehead. Again and again. The moment should have been perfect, but shadows still hung over the room because, despite the joy, everyone knew the truth. A single officer's decision nearly cost them everything. Aaliyah rested peacefully, their newborn sleeping on her chest. The mayor sat beside the bed, watching them with awe. A knock sounded. Officer Dawson stood silently in the doorway. The mayor's jaw tightened. "You have nerve walking in here." "Sir, I only came to ask if she's okay." "She's alive," the mayor said. "No thanks to you." Dawson lowered his gaze. "I accept whatever punishment comes next." "There'll be an internal investigation," the mayor replied coldly. "And after that, it won't be my office you'll answer to. It'll be the city." Dawson nodded. He had expected nothing less. He turned to leave. but Aaliyah's soft voice stopped him. Wait. They both turned. She looked fragile but clear-eyed. You made a terrible mistake tonight, she whispered. One that could have cost us everything. Dawson swallowed. I know. But mistakes, she said gently, are chances to change if you choose to. He blinked back tears. I'm so sorry, he whispered. Aaliyah nodded, then closed her eyes again, exhausted. The mayor watched her, then looked at Dawson. Leave, he said quietly. Dawson did, and the weight of his actions would follow him for the rest of his life. If you enjoyed this story and want more gripping storytelling, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more.